Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
For nearly 60 years, Arts United has worked to bring the rich, diverse talents of our region together through support of the arts, socially, culturally, and economically. Arts United, providing a home for the arts in Northeast Indiana.
This is Arts Weekly. Arts Weekly is presented by the College of Visual and Performing Arts at IPFW, offering degrees in fine arts, music, theater, and visual communication and design. IPFW, the energy of the arts.
Welcome to this edition of Arts Weekly. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Melinda Haines with the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. On today's show, we are going to learn about Arts United, one of the most significant arts organizations in town. We'll talk about how Arts United collaborates with area arts organizations to provide support and create a vibrant and prosperous community. With me now is Jim Sparrow, Executive Director of Arts United. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I am glad you're here. You know, I think downtown we see the buildings that are now beginning to very prominent. But tell me, what is Arts United?
Well, Arts United is many things. It started as a United Arts Fund exclusively, but even from its conception, it was always the concept of the founders to have an organization that functioned much like an arts council or an arts facilitator. And because of that initial start and those initial principles, we've continued to have many of those activities as a prominent part to augment our annual fund or the fund drive, which is how many people know us. Right.
So you are helping in this council way that you provide support other than just financially. You're there.
We're a facilitator. We really are. We provide services, facilities. We do fundraising. We also provide some civic leadership in terms of convening people, especially around arts and cultural sector type of activities.
Well, and in what sense is Arts United cultural?
Well, we define cultural in a very broad way. Cultural includes the arts, but it includes many other things, many things we talk about with food and diversity and activity and people. Arts United is cultural in that it really has a very broad brushstroke as it perceives getting people on what I call the cultural spectrum. You can have the fine arts end, where you deal with the Philharmonic or the ballet or the Museum of Art, or you can be introduced at a level that is in some ways an entry level. Cultural allows many different entry points, and that's one thing that we're very proud of.
And so what do you do in terms of art? I mean, that's a big part of your name, and that's, I think, what people think of probably first.
Art is very important. We have a long history of being involved in the arts, specifically as a supporter, or as I mentioned earlier, a facilitator. From the very beginning, we've had cultural partners, the institutions that many people think of when they think of the arts in Fort Wayne, that have been the groups that we work with very closely in terms of support, provide the facilities, the services, and also help, as I mentioned, convene, bringing to the table those various arts institutions and activities that are probably defined most with what people think of as arts.
Something that you're doing that's new downtown is your Black Box Theater.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Well, we're very excited about the potential addition of this theater. It is a space that we currently don't have downtown in the campus area. It is a multi-purpose space by its very name. It's what it sounds like. It's a giant black box that gives many opportunities for many things.
So what sorts of events or programs do you anticipate taking place there?
There will be some very traditional types of opportunities, but in a more intimate space. The theater itself will probably have a maximum audience of about 200.
Okay.
So you're looking at a very intimate, small theater experience for a traditional type of play or
Right.
activity. But because of the nature of the type of space that it is, you could see a contemporary dance performance, a play, you could see a film, there could be acoustical guitar, but you could just as easily have a community event or have a sculpture symposium or activity. It's a very flexible space. A space that in many ways people feel very, very comfortable in, which I think is also attractive. We have a very traditional stage. Now we have one that's a little more alternative and flexible.
Right, and just kind of as an example, over at the Arts United Center, that
Right.
theater is what, 600 and some seats?
660.
Yeah, so about a third of the space for this venue.
Yes, and much more flexible. It's a standard proscenium stage, what most people think of, and this is flexible. You could have a number of different seating arrangements or arrangements for the performers.
And when are you going to break ground on this?
Well, we hope to break ground probably the 1st of March. Some of that is dependent upon weather and a few other factors. But sometime between March and May, you should see shovels go in the ground, and we hope to have it up and running by late fall of next year.
So it's going to actually be attached to your building. I mean, you're building out from your building.
Yes, we are.
To create that space.
The space will be an addition to the Hour Center. It will be incorporated not only in terms of it being a physical space, but even the programming of the lobby and the open spaces were designed and conceived initially to allow the Art Center to be even more open and vibrant. Very excited.
That's going to be a very nice addition down there. Now, Arts United because of all the partnerships.
Right.
You know, tell me about all these partners. You have a lot of them.
We do. We have and have for a number of years, since 1999, have had 10 partners, and we just added 2 provisional partners this year. The 2 we added were UPAF, Unity Performing Arts Foundation, and FAME. But the other 10 partners are ArtLink, Museum of Art, Arch, Youth Theater, the Civic Theater, Fort Wayne Philharmonic, Fort Wayne Ballet, Fort Wayne Dance Collective, Fort Wayne Cinema Center, and the History Center.
So that encompasses just so many groups that kind of gives them a home there at Arts United. For
well, what's nice about the arrangement of the partners is all of the 4 traditional fine arts disciplines are involved in some way with a group, but then also many of the other, when we talked about cultural, many of the other partners that help broaden that definition are also part of this coalition.
And you are coming up on a 60th anniversary.
We are.
That's just, I mean, it's unbelievable how I don't want to say how old it is, but I mean how established it is to have started in 1955, and that's just a wonderful tribute to how much it has done. And in some ways,
the 60th anniversary is sneaking up on us. We've been very busy. I think it is within the next year. It's something we'll talk about. It's great to be 60 years old and to have had such success in the community.
So how are you going to be celebrating that? Are you still working on some of those plans?
That's a very good question. We're really not sure. I know that for the 50th anniversary, there were a lot of things that sort of looked back at who we were. I think as we look at the 60th, we'll have an opportunity with so much development to look at where we're going. And I think that's what's particularly exciting about this anniversary. There's so many pieces that are moving in a very positive way with the help of our partners in the community.
Well, and we have a little short video here that we want to show that kind of talks about where you are right now, at least in the building facilities department. But before we show it, can you tell us what the Hour Center is, the organizations there, and the purpose of the center and for going there?
Sure. When we conceived the Hour Center, it was really thinking of it as a community center focused on arts and culture as opposed to an arts and cultural center. And it does have a number of partners. The primary partners are Arts United's offices, the Fort Wayne Ballet, and ArtLink, which are the traditional arts partners, but we also have a small business, Pembroke Bakery, Fort Wayne Trails, which again is a cultural partner in a different way. FAME's offices are there, and we will be adding, as I mentioned, this Black Box Theater. So the space is full, it's active, and we think that activity will only increase with the theater.
Well, let's take a little tour and watch this video. Here we are in front of the Hour Center, which is home to many different arts organizations here in Fort Wayne. It's home to Arts United and ArtLink and Fort Wayne Ballet, as well as to the Pembroke Bakery. Let's go on a tour. Here we are at Art Link, a contemporary art gallery housed inside the Hour Center. Why don't we go in and take a look around? We are at the Arts United Center, which is home to Fort Wayne Youth Theater and the Fort Wayne Civic Theater. Both of them put on productions in this lovely building. We hope you enjoyed that short tour of the Hour Center for Arts and Culture and the Arts United Center. This video shows just a small part of the campus located downtown with many other organizations and facilities, including Fort Wayne Trails, Fame, Dance Collective, and Cinema Center, just to name a few. Now joining our discussion is Dan Ross, Director of Community Development at Arts United. Dan, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's good to have two faces now. Tell us exactly, what do you do at Arts United? What's your job?
Well, I have the pleasure of visiting with people such as yourself about what the role of arts and culture is in our community. And I thoroughly enjoy having those conversations with either partners that we're working with, fellow arts organizations, or partners who help fund our activities. You know, those individuals and corporations and foundations who help support what we do. I think we have a tremendous amount of support in this community, both with active participants in arts activities as well as those people who help support what we're doing financially.
So a part of your job is being in charge of this arts campus that's downtown, you know, what is now created.
Well, I certainly have the opportunity to participate in working with some of our partners on that campus, yes.
So tell me exactly what the arts campus is. When we say the arts campus, what does that mean?
Well, the arts campus is something that this community envisioned 50 years ago, which I think it's been such a pleasure for us to see that come to fruition over the last few years, or the continued development of that. It was very forward thinking back in around 1960 when this community envisioned the concept of an arts campus and engaged very prominent architect Louis Kahn to lay out this initially a 12 building complex.
Oh, I didn't realize that the original plan was that.
Yeah, it was.
It was actually designed and conceived about the same time Lincoln Center was, at the same time, without really much knowledge about what Lincoln Center was doing. So it was very forward thinking.
Absolutely. And initially, the actual Arts United Center was constructed in '72, and then in '84 the Art Museum was added. And so what we've been doing over the last couple of years, though, is expanding on that original vision that the community had. And what's been exciting to me to see is the conversations that people have when they drive down Main Street and look at this complex of buildings now, and you look up in the Hour Center and you see ballet dancers on that second floor, and you see those works of art in the ArtLink galleries. And so there now is this tangible sense of value for arts and culture in this community in a different kind of way, because you can drive down Main Street and see it, and you can see that the community is invested in it.
Well, and I think the other thing, to the point of the campus, is the insertion of the Hour Center was a piece that sort of pulled it together like glue, because there were already huge assets there.
Right.
You had the Museum of Art, you had the History Center, you had the Hall Community Arts Center, you had Arch's offices downtown, and you also had, as you mentioned, the activity at the Arts United Center. This just helped bring a little bit more visibility to what was already there. So it was a perfect fit.
Yeah, and it's just a great location too. I mean, right there, Main Street. You know, you don't miss it when you go by. It's a great welcoming feature.
Yeah, absolutely. And to Jim's point, now there are 12 different arts and cultural entities that are housed within that 3 or 4 block area.
Yeah, you just
so
can
you have
walk
this collection
everywhere.
of entities.
It's a real destination. You know,
Absolutely.
go and see a whole lot of things. Well, every January you have an annual fund drive, and I think this is probably what most people know about, the Arts United Fund Drive. Give us some details about, you know, the fund drive and where those funds go.
Well, the fund drive is certainly a key piece of what Arts United does. As Jim mentioned, initially 50 years ago when Arts United was formed, that was a key piece of it. But right now, and it continues to be a very important part of enabling Arts United to do what we do in the community. But our role now includes funding, facilities, and business services as well. And so the monies that we raise through the fund drive help to support the facilities, which are so important. Arts organizations need unique kinds of spaces.
Right.
You know, ballet companies need ballet studios that have sprung floors and that have bars, and they need a unique kind of space, as does a cinema center, as does a symphony orchestra. So Arts United is able to provide those kinds of spaces, those kinds of facilities that organizations need. But the business service is also a key element of what we do.
Because for a small organization to be able to provide their own health insurance or just to be able to do payroll, you provide those services to them as well.
Absolutely. In fact, there are 18 different organizations who participate in the health insurance plan that Arts United manages. There are 8 different organizations for whom Arts United manages their payroll, and there are about 6 or 7 different organizations now that Arts United actually keeps their books, helps with audit prep. And again, as you mentioned, a small organization with a staff of 2 or 3 people, it's difficult to have all those services.
Yeah, so, to have them done professionally and have them done locally by people who know the arts and nonprofits. It's going to be a lot better collaboration and sharing of resources.
Right. Well, it also really allows us to focus on what they do best. We are a service organization. We don't do programming. But we help with our partners in terms of what they do best. It allows a small shop with very talented people to provide a lot, because we can provide a lot of those back office services or support services that really allows them to let the art shine, let their mission really come through, and that's something we're extremely proud of.
Well, and also then you provide all the development services so that each of those organizations doesn't have to have their own fund drive every year. And I would imagine there are people who like to contribute to the ballet, who contribute to the Philharmonic, who contribute to, the different organizations So it kind of
Well,
helps in that way.
absolutely. Each of those organizations do engage in their own fundraising
Yeah.
activities, and but we're very pleased that Arts United is a significant funder of all of those organizations for whom are our principal partners. And so clearly that's one of the key elements that the fund drive also takes care of, is our ability to provide that operational support for those organizations.
And I just want to talk about this fund is just been around. We talked about this a little bit earlier, since 1955, but you are the third oldest arts fund in the country.
That's correct.
And that's just such an accomplishment to have, you know, those forward thinkers back then.
That's true. We're the only two that are older, are Louisville and Cincinnati, and
Wow.
we were very close on their heels. So it's been a long time we've been doing this, and we've had a lot of success.
One of the newer events that's a lot of fun is Taste of the Arts. Let's talk a little bit about that and how that has grown over the years.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that is a fantastic event, and we just finished our fourth Taste of the Arts Festival this past year, and it has grown to the point where last year was estimated that we had 25,000 people attend the event. It's become very popular downtown, and with the expansion of the Arts Campus, we feel like it has really come into its own. Because it does happen right on Main Street and throughout the Arts Campus. This past year we had 60 different performances over 7 different stages. We had 30 different restaurants. We had 30 different individual artists selling their materials, and then we had about 40 different arts organizations setting up booths. It truly is a taste of the arts throughout this community.
Yeah, I was amazed at the number of people, and everyone was so impressed with everything that they saw there, because you could get everything from just seeing the performance to how do I learn that and how can I buy this, and how, you know, it's just a lovely day where you get to learn and see a lot.
It is a fun day, and it's a very inclusive day, family-friendly day, but all different ages can participate and have the same type of experience in terms of it being a really inclusive, fun day.
Well, you know, you do a lot too with contributing to neighborhoods. You know, what are some of the things that you do for contributing to the neighborhood directly around you, or maybe in some other areas?
Well, we are very interested in help promoting what's happening in our downtown neighborhood. And the development of the Arts Campus, we feel, not only supports those great arts and cultural institutions that are there, but it contributes to the vibrancy of downtown, and it actually contributes to the economic development of downtown as well. We feel that the inclusion of the Pembroke Bakery, a great place for people to gather in the Hour Center and have a cup of coffee.
And it smells so good.
Absolutely, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a fun place to work.
time.
Yeah, but also with bringing that ballet alone, the ballet company bringing them into downtown, now there's 400 families who come downtown every week. And so it's adding to the vibrancy of the community, but also to the traffic in and the population of what happens on an ongoing basis in downtown.
Well, and it's really become a true cultural district, because you can see so many things there. And I love the addition of Arts Ticks. Tell me about that endeavor and how that works.
Well, I think Arts Ticks really grew out of, when we talked about services, how can we provide more access for the community, and how can we provide greater service? The Arts Ticks concept really is a shared consortium type of model, much like many of the things we do. And it focuses a lot on access for the customer. Really, how can we provide the greatest service for the customer at the highest level? So buying tickets and being able to work together to make sure that when you're interested in finding out about a performance or an activity, you're able to get those tickets and information whenever you're looking for it, as opposed to just the 2 weeks prior to the
And we've got the phone number up on the screen now, so people can call that. 422-4226. It's a good, easy to remember number, and they can get tickets to those organizations, and it frees the organizations up from having to have their own box office.
That's true.
As well. You know, I want to talk for a second about Last Saturdays. That's another thing that you have started that's a vibrant thing downtown. Tell me about that.
We have. Well, Arts United is one of 4 principal partners on the creation of the Fort Wayne Cultural District. And the Last Saturday's programming was set up to encourage people to experience the arts and to discover downtown. Come see what these cultural assets are that this community has to offer.
Well, it's a lot of fun to be down there. It makes the downtown area just come alive on those days. Well, thank you so much for being here, Dan and Jim. I'm Melinda Haines with the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. For up-to-the-minute arts updates, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And be sure to join us here live Thursday evenings at 7:30 on PBS 39.